Are you self-proclaimed beige gays?
Yeah.
So kind of like basic is...
Basic, yeah.
What's the longest you've gone without having sex?
We've actually blocked the word top and the word bottom.
You've never kissed in public?
I don't think our friends have seen us kiss. I don't think our friends have seen us hug.
If you had to have a celebrity third and agree on it, who would it be?
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah, he's really hot, isn't it? Personally, I think getting naked in front of each other as soon as possible is actually a good thing.
Initial attraction, you have to think, okay, they're good looking. I mean, maybe that builds.
I don't know if it builds.
True.
I don't know if
Some
it
people
builds.
said it does.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
I think it's either there or it's not. How old are you both?
I'm 30. Just turned 30.
29, 30 October.
Okay, how are you feeling?
Amazing.
Probably
Not you. Jake and Max, thank you for joining me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Who's Jake? Who's Max?
I'm Jake.
I'm Max.
Do people get that wrong?
All the
Yeah.
time.
We all, in our videos as well, we usually stand Max and Jake. So people automatically assume that one of us is the opposite.
Okay.
Because obviously our handles and everything are Jake and Max.
Yeah. And who do they assume is who?
It's always opposite.
Oh, is it always
They
opposite?
always assume that I'm Jake and he's Max.
Did you think one of you looks more like a Jake if you didn't know you?
I mean, do I look like a Max?
I think everyone could look like a Max. I think it's quite a generic name.
I think you look like a Jake.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I
That's
said
interesting.
Jake when you walked in, because for some reason in my head
Really?
you look more like a Jake.
Yeah. Fun fact, I actually chose my name. Like obviously not as a baby, but I used to be called Kieran.
Okay.
And when I turned 21, I always hated my name. I changed it to Max.
Really?
Yeah.
At 21?
Yeah. So my
Wow.
family still call me Kieran.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So my first question for you, and it's a question that everyone is probably wondering, is who's the top and who's the bottom?
You can take this one because I feel like we've spoke about
I
this a
mean,
lot.
we
We
get
this
this
a lot.
all the time. And
Sorry to interrupt. Just a quick one. I know that we're getting to the good bit, but if you aren't subscribed to this YouTube channel and you want to show your support, please can you subscribe? It takes a couple of seconds and it really helps keep these conversations going. Now back to the show.
And I neither, first of all. And I don't know, for me, it's like, it's very much dependent on mood, who you're with. Obviously, me and Max obviously with each other, but if you're single, if I was single, it'd be like who I'm with.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very dependent.
I also feel like it's like people feel like you have to choose one, and it's like in a straight couple, they might have a favourite sexual position, but they'll mix it up. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to do the same position every single night.
I hear it changes with age as well. Like some people might want
really?
a bottom when they're younger, and then when they get older, they don't really like doing it anymore. So
That's interesting.
I don't feel like we should.
Yeah.
Box
I think people
ourselves
use
in.
it as well to like kind of dictate where you are in your relationship. Like people are always assuming that. So a lot of our videos are like Jake doing the cleaning, or like it'll be a funny skit about that. So then people will think, oh, he must be the bottom, because in their mind they think, okay, bottom is the more, what's the word?
Submissive.
One. And they then think, okay, so a submissive one in a relationship stereotypically would be a woman in a heterosexual relationship. So like they try and link it all like down into this
Yeah.
box,
Yeah.
when that's just not what life is anymore.
Let me just say that was a joke question,
Yeah.
because I can hate that question.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
So, and I only asked you that because on Instagram you were like, oh, well, what questions are you going to ask us? And so I said as a joke, who's the top and who's the bottom? And then you said, oh, we have a good answer for
We've
that.
got a lot to say.
So I was
Yeah.
just curious what your answer was going to be.
Yeah.
But in normal circumstances, I would never ask that question. I resonate with it's different with every guy. For me personally, I mean, some people are probably like, I'm a bottom for life or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been very like dependent on the person I'm with and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think your answer was very diplomatic and lovely.
Yeah.
But I can't believe you get that often, do you?
Oh my God, all the time.
All the time.
If we do a Q&A in our stories, people always say it. We've actually blocked the word top and the word bottom
Wow.
and any kind of different spelling of it on TikTok, because it was just getting so annoying. Like,
God, don't do a sponsorship with ASOS. They'll be like, here's your summer clothes. I love this.
everybody's box.
yeah, it was getting a lot, wasn't it? And then
Yeah.
we started Instagram, and that was getting the same thing. And it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's mostly, I don't know who your followers are. Are your followers mainly gay men, or are they a lot women as well?
I'd
know?
say mainly gay men.
Right.
I feel like that women, I think, are starting to trickle through, I think, but mainly gay men. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I find that typically straight women ask me that question more than gay men.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Who's the boy, who's the girl, and that sort of shit.
I actually think when I met you, I'd say a lot of my friends would say, oh, so who's the woman? without even realizing like the
Yeah.
implications of that question.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I don't know why would people ask it?
It's so,
It was a stupid question. It's obvious. Who's
so
the woman.
stupid. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
obviously Jake.
No,
So you guys met online.
Yeah,
we did.
we went on Hinge 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago. Yeah.
2019, before lockdown.
Classic dating app story, really.
How quickly into meeting each other did you know it was a good fit?
It took me longer than what it took you, I think. I was really cautious of relationships in general. And in my head, I wanted to be single for ages. Like, I was only on dating apps just for a bit of attention when I got bored. So
Same.
when we like started dating, there was a connection there, but I was a bit like hesitant, I think. And I was a bit like, oh, do I want, like, does he tick this box? Does he tick this box? Like, do I want this? Is this going to benefit me more than how I feel being single?
I feel like it was after a few months, I was like, okay, I can see this working. I think we stopped talking for a while, didn't we? And
Oh yeah, Jake broke up with me for 2 days.
yeah, sorry.
Very early on.
What, he said that he needed some space or something?
I think it was all just getting too serious, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. And bear in mind, this is like my first serious relationship.
And it
I
was
would
during
say.
lockdown, so it was so intense.
Really intense. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And then after I was like, oh, I've made the wrong decision. And I messaged him again. And I was like, please take me back.
And what did he say?
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I actually went into my housemate at the time and I was like, this guy just messaged me again after 2 days of ignoring me, after telling me he wasn't interested anymore. And now he's like groveling. And I was like, can you believe it? I was fully ready to just be like, whatever. And my housemate was like, you've got to give him another chance.
Oh, good housemate.
Very good, yeah. Shout out to McClalla.
Yeah.
Are you self-proclaimed beige gays?
100%.
Yeah, we're gonna take that title. Aren't
Yeah. we didn't self-proclaim it at first. It was kind of pushed on us. I think someone like commented it. And then you watched a video on it and then you told me what it was. And I was like, oh.
I think I actually
does.
saw it. It was either another podcast or it was a really quick clip on TikTok, and they were talking about beige gays, and I was like, oh my god, that's us.
So a beige gay is what?
You'll explain it better than what I would.
I mean, I don't really know like if there's an actual definition, but it's more like the beige apartment, the cream sofa, white walls. You get a piece of art on the wall and you think it's like the most amazing thing. Like, that is us.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my god, that is us.
Yeah.
So kind of like basic is...
Basic, yeah. I'd say.
Right.
I'll take it.
Do you think that you guys, because you've been together now for 5 years,
Yeah.
what do you think that your biggest strength is as a couple? What do you think is the thing that's kept you together more than anything?
I think really early on, we kind of made this like subconscious pact that we were just always going to be a team. And like every time there's an issue, or obviously you go through life, there's going to be so many challenges. The first one being the fact that we started in lockdown, I was already like mad. We just take everything as like, it sounds so cliche, but like us against the world. Like, it's literally just like, we know no matter what, we're going to be okay because the end goal is us, like being happy.
Yeah, like we could have massive rows, but even in the row, we're like, we're not gonna break up. Like, we're still on the team. I think as long as you're both still on the team, then that's what matters.
What's the name of your team?
Jax.
So you know what? We actually, when we started TikTok,
Yeah, this is a
Jake
funny
and Max
story.
on its own weren't available, and Max and Jake weren't available. We're like, what are we going to call ourselves? So it's like put our names together, and it was like Jax. And then, yeah.
I think that a big strength from you two, from just meeting you for 10 minutes and observing you online, if I was to say what the strength is that you have the exact same sense of humour.
Really? That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you have the same sense of humour because your online output is a very aligned sense of humour, and you find each other very funny.
That's really interesting, yeah. We do find each other
Yeah.
really funny, to be fair.
I feel like you're quite dry though, aren't you? Am I dry as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're behind closed doors, Jake's a lot more like silly and like goofy.
Yeah, I am.
And then I think I'm more like dry, sarcastic. So we have like different ways of portraying humour, but we find each other's humour really funny.
But
We do
would you
genuinely find the same.
Would you say that in your house there's a lot of laughter, like it's lots of silliness?
Always.
All the time.
Yeah,
Well, that's very important.
100%.
As you've grown online, I was very surprised to hear that you've only started making content from January.
Yeah.
And since then, you've got almost 100,000 followers combined between TikTok and Instagram. With that comes obviously like more attention on you from gay men, like you said. So has it impacted your relationship in the sense that you're now getting attention and separate DMs and gay men recognizing you maybe if you're in a club? So has that affected you in the sense of losing any element of security between both of you?
I wouldn't say so, no.
No, not on my... I think if you trust each other wholeheartedly, like, you wouldn't really have a reason to. And, like, I know that people are going to message, like, people are going to say stuff. It's the same as, like, you could be in the street and, like, someone could come up to you and say something because they find you attractive in the street. Like, to me, it's no different than what it is in DMs and stuff. Like, if Jake was out with his friends, I wouldn't be sitting at home thinking, oh, if someone talks to him, what's going to happen? So, like, I'm not going to sit there and think, if someone messages him, what's going to happen? Like, it just doesn't cross my mind.
A lot of people would DM though, but they wouldn't come up to you in person.
Yeah, true.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
So there is no sort of reading each other's comments and going through each other's phones and all. There's just like complete trust.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, and that's always been the case.
I haven't got time.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't always been the case.
No?
No, not
At the
for me.
beginning, yeah. The beginning was like,
I was
rough.
insane. Like I said, like, I was not ready to get into a relationship. And so then when we got into a relationship, at first, I struggled so bad. Jake was like a serial liker of like every single man's photos on Instagram. And I would find it. Like, I would literally like find it. And I'd be like, you've liked this person's photo. This is in the first few months. Obviously, I'd cooled down a little bit. But yeah, I really struggled with it at first. I don't know what it was.
Is that why you thought that it was a bit intense?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just on dating apps purely for ego purposes at this point. I think I was at a point where I was like, I don't even want a relationship. I was booking holidays with my friends. Like, it wasn't on my radar. I think I tried it multiple times. It just wasn't working. So for me, it was just ego purposes. Obviously, you came along and it was rough a long time, but I knew we had something special. But yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you overcome that?
I was definitely overdue some therapy by that point. And
not from me.
Not because of Jake. No, before Jake. So yeah, I had a bit of therapy just to kind of talk about myself, really. I'd done therapy before that, and I think it was really important. I think it definitely helped. And a lot of it just came from like anxiety and being a bit uncertain and not trusting people and unresolved issues within myself. And I think once I kind of realised that, yeah, it probably made me feel a bit guilty, actually, because I think I did put a lot of pressure on Jake right at the beginning.
It's also just, we were getting to know each other, setting boundaries. It was months in, like...
Yeah. And we were so young. We were literally just turned 25.
Literally.
And to me, that's like...
Babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is young. To go back on the jealousy point, which you both squashed and said that apart from you, Max, saying that Jake was liking things on Instagram, and that was just like habit or like wanting kind of one foot out the door. What was it from your perspective of what was the liking? Was it just what Instagram's for, is liking other stuff?
Yeah, like sometimes I would like photos just because it's like, oh, he's wearing something nice. And I'd be like, it's like we follow people now and it's, oh, like he does like really good fashion content. Like let's just make sure we follow him, keep up to date with it. But then some was just like, oh, like his photo because he'll like my photos. It's just ego purposes.
But
it makes you feel good when you get it back in return. It's just for attention.
But was it you were liking topless stuff?
Yeah.
And for Max, was that what would set you off? Is that it's not just their clothes, it's that there's this hot guy on Instagram, you're liking his picture?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's because I knew it was for attention. So in my brain, I was like,
yeah,
I'm giving you attention, so why is that not enough?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is something about liking on Instagram, isn't there, that can set people off. I've definitely had that in relationships before.
Yeah.
And I think that it is because, like, if you admit it, the intention is because you want to have some sort of flirtation with someone online.
Yeah, we had like our own little therapy sessions between us, didn't we? And I think I made Jake question a lot. Before, I think he was a bit aloof, and I'm such a deep thinker. So
but I think it comes from you've been through therapy. I've never had therapy before in my life. So I think it made me go deep into myself. Like, why am I actually doing this?
Yeah. What is the purpose behind it?
Yeah. Because I'm sure if one of these people that you liked and then messaged you back in your messaging, you wouldn't take it any further than that.
No. Serious.
So to talk about jealousy more, something unique to same-sex relationships is the idea that you're both men and you both have the same bodies, but your bodies are different. So I've spoken to other gay men about this, and I've definitely had this myself, where I felt jealous of my partner's body because not only do I find it attractive, but also you naturally think that they look better than you because it's not yourself. So you think, oh, their arms, their whatever. So I don't know, between you two, do you ever have that sort of comparing or competitiveness sort of physically with each other?
I don't think it's competitiveness, but I think there's definitely, like, again, it comes from your own insecurity, but I look at Jake and I'm like, oh, why doesn't my body look like that? Like, we've both been on like a bit of a fitness journey recently, and it's like a program for a set amount of time, and Jake's body just transforms so much quicker than what mine does naturally, and the whole time it's been a bit of a struggle, because I've literally been like, why am I in this position and your body's completely changed? Like, it is really hard, especially being two guys, to compare. Like, it's only natural to compare yourself anyway, but when you're seeing someone every single day, you're seeing the changes, you're seeing that they're putting in the same work that you're putting in. I think it does mess with your head a little bit.
I think it's just a continuous work in progress. It's not even just down to body image. It can get down to, like, when you say competing, it's like you can land a job and I'm like, oh my God, like, he's got a really good job now, and I can't compete. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a blurred line between attraction and jealousy. So it's that I'm attracted to my partner because they have such a great jawline or a great head of hair or whatever, but then you want it yourself because you know it's attractive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
sure.
strange, isn't it? Because you're like, I know that is attractive, therefore I want to be attractive. So it's almost like I want to take that body part and have it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I just putting thoughts in your own
No,
head?
that
that
is
is
100% true.
exactly it. Yeah.
I have an issue with my hair. I've always hated my hair, and I've been obsessed with Jake's hair ever since I met him. Every single day, if Jake's like, oh, my hair looks awful today, I'm literally like, you have no idea how jealous I am of your hair. Like,
What's wrong with your hair?
I just don't like it.
Is there a particular reason you don't like it?
It's very thin. There's no texture. It's very straight. Yeah, it's not.
He's too critical of himself.
Have you ever gone buzz cut?
I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to.
But you know, if you get fed up with your hair, you just shave it all off.
I'd be too scared. I'm clinging onto it for dear life at the moment. So.
Something, again, which is unique to same-sex relationships, and something that I've come up against, and something that you've put on your TikTok, is that when you're out in public and you see a hot guy, you both might go like this and turn your head and then clock the other person doing it as well.
We do it all the time, don't we?
Yeah, I think we're very vocal about it, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Especially at the gym. There's so many hot guys that go to our gym, and then
also
we
go
message each
text
other like,
oh my God, he's so hot.
you know, at the gym you don't know anyone's names. Obviously, so you just have like pet names for people at the gym.
So give me a pet name of someone at the gym.
Should I give it? Snoopy.
There's a guy that looks like Snoopy, but like a really hot version of Snoopy.
Snoopy, the cartoon dog with the black eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A hot version of him.
Like, it looks a bit sad to be there.
Yeah.
Like, in a really hot way.
Okay.
Blonde hair guy.
Yeah.
He was actually from our old gym. We moved to a whole different area, and this guy just randomly popped up.
You're like, oh my God, he's here.
Yeah. He's looking great at the moment, so.
Yeah.
Good for blonde hair.
Yeah. Who else is there?
But you're very open about, you don't get any weirdness about going, oh God, he's fit, isn't he? Or if you get a waiter and then he comes to the table, you give each other the eye. It's all kind of playfulness.
Oh, yes, always playful, yeah.
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 What's your opinion in general, and not just for you two, about when you should leave sex in a date? How many dates in? Do you have rules on it, or do you just think whenever it happens?
I think whenever it happens, it happens. I also think the sooner the better. It's like, you need to make sure you're compatible sexually. And I don't even mean in terms of like positions. I literally mean like that connection needs to be there.
Is this going to work?
Yeah. If you're someone that wants to throw someone around the room, and then the other person's someone that just wants to lay there still, how's that going to work? Like, you need to figure it out really early on, in my opinion.
So you don't think there's like a 2-date, 3-date, 1-date, 5-day rule?
No, I feel like if you go on a first date and you're like, okay, this is the energy's there, the vibe's there, and you feel comfortable, do it.
Yeah.
And what date did you leave it till?
The first.
Yeah.
We literally went to Nando's.
And I came back to your flat.
Came back to mine.
Yeah.
That was it.
Nice. Nando's, and then stayed away from the extra period.
Just a lemon and herb.
Yeah. I guess as well that like the first kiss is quite important, because if you don't kiss well, then I think that can, although it can improve, it can kind of make or break a sexual chemistry. Do you agree?
100%.
Well, you say the first time you kiss me, sealed the deal.
Yeah. Like, I swear by kissing someone. Like, when I was dating, when I was single, even if I wasn't attracted to someone that day, I would kiss them, just because I wanted to be like, I don't know if I'm attracted to you until I've kissed you. Someone could be, I wouldn't find them attractive, or the chat might be rubbish, but if I've kissed them and there's like a spark there, I'm like, okay, maybe there is something here, and I'll look past the other things and see how it goes. maybe that will develop. So yeah, when I kissed Jake for the first time, I was like, sold.
I mean, I'm surprised I got a second date, to be fair.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I was just really like timid on the first date. I don't really know what I was walking into. And then when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, this is real.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
quiet.
I remember you just asking me loads of questions and I was just very much like,
It was like getting blood out of a stone.
yeah, it was quite bad.
Okay.
I just remember being so nervous. I don't know what I was expecting, but yeah.
When did you first kiss each other?
In my car after the first date.
Straight after Nando's, went back to the car, and before he drove away, I just leant in and kissed him.
And then it was a good kiss, obviously.
Yeah. Good enough for him to come back to mine.
So back to what you said, Max, about not knowing if you fancy someone until you kissed them. I so relate to that. I've had so many dates where I wasn't vibing it and then kissed them at the end because I wanted to know if there was that sort of spark there. And sometimes that can ignite enough for you to think, okay, there's definitely a sexual connection. So let's go on a second date. And I kind of agree that I think getting naked in front of each other as soon as possible is actually a good thing, because if you leave it too long, then there starts to build this anticipation that makes the getting naked or whatever you end up doing a bit more of an event than it needs to be.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree.
Yeah. I think there's something about being naked with someone as well that's really vulnerable. And I feel like once you've got done that, you're like, okay, that's like, we're now on another level because we've seen each other without our clothes off. You feel like a bit closer, a bit more comfortable in a way, I think.
I mean, you've seen every part of each other, so it's like, that's it now.
Yeah, what's left?
Would you say that you had a very intense physical honeymoon period?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, for sure.
We obviously, again, because the first stage was during lockdown, I've never sent so many videos and photos of my body to someone before. And it was the built up frustration of like, obviously when you first start dating someone, you do have this like honeymoon phase and we couldn't do anything about it for a while. So yeah, I think that definitely built up.
Yeah, it was really intense, everything. I think because of lockdown, that's the whole reason.
And when you saw each other as well, that must have added to the sexual frustration.
Massively. Yeah.
I mean, we'd get to your flat and just go straight to the bedroom, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And 5 years later, what is your advice to maintain a good physical connection over the years?
Communicate. Don't be scared to mix things up or discover new things, try new things. And I think it's really different for everyone. So for me, I think to feel really sexually connected to someone, I also need like romantic affection. So like if Jake's going through a phase where he's a bit not affectionate, my sex drive's lower than what it would be if he was like giving me a kiss or coming up and just cuddling me randomly. If you feel like you're getting the love you need from someone, I don't know if this is right, but it should just be there. Like the connection should just be there. For us, that's how it's worked anyway.
Yeah.
I think.
And would you say that one of you is the more sort of sexually charged partner?
I wouldn't say so. I feel like it fluctuates.
Yeah.
Over the
agree.
years, it's just sort of...
I think we went through like a solid year where maybe I was a bit more up for it. This year, you've been a bit more up for it.
Yeah.
I think it does just change, I think.
And some couples can get quite embarrassed about talking about a lack of sex in relationships. So there's this elephant in the room. They haven't had sex in 2 weeks. That neither of them want to confront it because it's like, oh, we should be having sex. Would you say that you're good at acknowledging if you hadn't had sex in a while and either doing something about it or just accepting that that's ebbs and flows of relationships?
I think we just accept it, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Like life happens. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
A relationship isn't just built on sex. There's so much more to it than just sex.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, we're good at just kind of acknowledging it. I mean, we're lucky we don't go too long without sex. So we've never had to kind of have the chat of like, we haven't had sex for a while. Yeah, who knows?
What's the longest you've gone without having sex?
I mean, I'd say about a year or two into our relationship, I got into a really like depressed state and I was like not in the mood at all. So I'd say like we've gone months, I think, before.
It wasn't months. It definitely wasn't months.
Or at least a month. I don't know. I can't remember now. But
Probably,
it was just,
probably about a month. I'd say 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Why were you in a depressed state?
I think just with life, life just takes control and nothing to do with us. It was just just general life.
Okay, so it wasn't like job loss or anything particular.
No, I think it was more like to do with job, wanting to move job and move area, just life bits.
Yeah, and Max supported you.
He did indeed.
What do you think about monogamy versus non-monogamy? Because obviously for gay couples, open relationships is such a huge thing and an option that a lot of couples decide to go down. And from an interview I did with a therapist, he said that almost 50% of gay couples are open and then 50% aren't. That I don't know if that statistic is correct. It could be based on cities versus not. But what's your opinions on open versus monogamous?
I think whatever works for you is the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that have asked us, "Are you open?"
Yeah.
is crazy.
I know some people have really strong opinions on it, and they're like, "Oh, a gay relationship can only work if it's open." And then you've got people that are like, "You're not happy if you're in an open relationship. Like, you're not actually in love then." Like, some people have really strong opinions on it, and I think we're both very much on the same page of just like, it is what it is. If it works for them, it works for them. If it works for them, it works for them.
But you are
We're monogamous.
monogamous and always have been, and communicated that to each other quite early on that that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Or was it almost you didn't even need to say it?
I don't think we ever needed to say it, but
Yeah. We've always just been on that same page, I guess.
I just don't think I could ever do that personally. Just the type of person I am, I'd just be too jealous.
Yeah.
I'd be so worried that you'd get a connection with someone else, and
I think that would be my biggest fear.
yeah.
Of like, what if he finds a connection with someone else? Like, and I've given him the green light to do that. But yeah, I understand why people do it. And I think for a lot of relationships, it's probably saved a lot of relationships, which is a really nice thing to conclude. Like, that's what saved it.
I think that so I think I'm hardwired monogamous.
Yeah.
And once I find a guy that I like, I'm fine to laser in on him and stay that way. I don't have this like huge want to fuck lots of different people.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm just hard. That's just me. I've tried to go against that and it always feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Would you say that you both are inherently, for whatever reason, just monogamous people?
I think so. Yeah. We were talking about it the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think for me, I've always had this like, I don't know if warped is the word, but this version of what a relationship is from my parents. They've always been together like my whole life. And I've kind of, I'm just hardwired to think that like, this is what a relationship should be, or this is the type of relationship I want. But yeah. I'm also someone who is very aware of like, your brain is kind of wired because of those experiences and what you're surrounded by and what you see. And I was very late to the whole open relationship conversation. Like I didn't know anyone in an open relationship. Didn't really speak to anyone about it. I think it was only like a few years ago, really, that I started talking to people about like them being in open relationships. And yeah.
Have you ever discussed having a third?
No.
It's never even crossed your mind as a sort of fun activity for you?
I think because we have quite a healthy, I'd say healthy sex life, right now, I feel like we're in a position where we don't feel the need to change anything up. That's not to say maybe one day we might have a conversation about it, who knows? But
I think we're both open-minded enough to know that it would be okay to bring that up.
Yeah.
And even if it was like shot down, it's not a problem.
Yeah, it would be a healthy conversation, which I think is so important. And I can understand so many people in relationships where they feel like, I want this, but I don't know how to bring that up. Like, I think we're both really lucky in the sense that we know that we can just say anything to each other and have a conversation about it. And again, it comes back to that whole team mentality. It's not going to be a make or break situation. We'll always find a way to make something work because we want it to.
If you had to have a celebrity third and agree on it, who would it be?
We've got a few.
Yeah, does it count as a celebrity? We was actually on the way, it was in the car the other day, and we actually discussed this, didn't we? I think we listed like 5 people, but they were like models. They weren't like proper celebrities.
I've got one, but I don't know if it's...
Go on, say it, and I'll say if it's a yes or no.
I would say Michael Yoga.
Did you know Michael Yoga?
No. Oh, is he an Instagram guy?
He's a model. He was on
model.
Survivor originally in America.
Straight though, right?
Straight. Yeah.
Bit sort of
Everyone on
slightly
our
beardy,
list. Everyone on our list is straight.
Slightly beardy, gorgeous blue eyes.
Stunning. Yeah.
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 Obsessed.
Yeah, he's really hot, isn't he? I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's stunning.
Okay, but he is straight. He just plays a bit.
Yeah.
He likes the attention off gays, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's just making money from the gays.
Yeah.
As they all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of the imaginary thirds are straight men.
Yeah, which is
think
actually
they
quite
are,
funny.
So relationships before each other. Have either of you experienced bad heartbreak before?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so.
So
Okay.
Jake a no, Max a yes.
I would say mine was a bit more of an ego hit than heartbreak.
What? Tell us more.
Just in terms of like maybe going on a date, maybe a few dates, liking someone, being ghosted,
Okay.
maybe thinking I was led on, maybe, but nothing serious. I wouldn't say it's heartbreak.
Right. Okay.
I didn't have anything serious to break my heart.
And then Max, you've had heartbreak before.
I'd say so, yeah. I don't know if it was... I don't want to say proper heartbreak because obviously there's not a proper heartbreak, but it was quite a traumatic thing. But again, I think it's mentally I wasn't in a position where I probably should have been in a relationship. There was a lot of work I had to do on myself. A lot of other factors came into it, and I think he cheated, and it hurt me so much. But I don't think it was because of him, because at the time I was so young. I think it was just more so like it added to a long list of other things I already thought about myself, and that just kind of tipped me over the edge. That I'd say was my only heartbreak.
Okay. Well, Jake, you've really dodged a bullet there. Heartbreak sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone says you have to go through it once, though.
I don't think you do. I honestly don't think you do. Like, I know that people say that, but I think those people have just been shit on a lot.
I hear it, and
They've
I'm
been
like,
through it.
I don't think I'm going to go through it. So
Yeah, I think that I don't, a lot of couples who met when they were young and they stayed together for life, what would have benefited them for going through heartbreak? They've had a lovely, secure, stable relationship, because heartbreak then damages you in a temporary sense to the next relationship. You have fears, then you have insecurities, and if you never get that dent, then why would you almost want it? I don't know.
It's almost the opposite. It's almost like trying to avoid heartbreak.
Yeah, I mean, it's unavoidable, really. It's very lucky not to have had it.
Yeah.
But so do you think that, Max, you were affected by that cheating that's kind of affected any other future relationship?
No, I don't think I didn't go into my next relationship thinking, oh, I'm going to get cheated on here because it happened before. Again, I was so young. It was just a bit like, okay, that happened, whatever. And I think because I then got through it, I then just had this attitude of like, I'm going to get with someone else. And if that doesn't work, fine. I'll move on the same as I've moved on before.
And do you talk about exes with each other?
We've never had like a proper conversation about any of that, really.
no,
I think it just never really happened. It never come up. Like I'm not bothered at all about anything from Jake's like romantic past. Anything he got up to, anything he didn't get up to, and like it doesn't affect who he is or the way I see him. So we've never really felt the need to have that conversation, I guess.
yeah, same.
Nice, because you can sometimes have lingering exes that are there in the background, that you share friends, so they're at the same party, or a Instagram like comes from them, and so you don't have any of that sort of residue of old relationships lingering.
It's not as far as I'm aware. I think there's probably, I mean, you know what it's like being in London. There's probably 400 guys that we've both spoken to, been on a date with. Maybe we've both kissed them. Maybe we've both been like, you don't know. There probably has. Chances are there has, but again, it wouldn't change anything.
Are you good at PDA? Do you feel very comfortable to hold hands in public, kiss in public?
We don't do it at all. do we?
Yeah, we're not PDA couples at all. Like even like you look at all of our videos, there's probably about 2 where we've like hugged. We're not very affectionate in front of other people.
And it's not a... Sorry, I asked that question more not to know if you're physical in public, but more that you're comfortable being gay in public. So you'll walk around holding hands on the street, or is this just not your vibe?
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not our vibe, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it.
For me, I feel like even if I could go to like a gay beach where there's no one there but gay people, and I still don't think I'd hold Jake's hand. I just don't think we're affectionate PDA type of people, and it's not because we're gay. I think it's just because that's just who we are. I mean, it's hard to say because it would never happen, but if I was with a girl, I think I'd probably still be the same. Like, I'm just not like, oh,
so there's no...
in front of people.
If you're saying goodbye on the tube, someone's going to work or whatever, I don't know, and then you kiss on the tube platform, there's no like, oh, people are staring at us, it's two gays kissing. Do you ever get that?
We've never kissed we just wouldn't do it.
You've never kissed in public?
We're just like, see you later, see you later. No.
You've never kissed in public?
No. I don't think our friends have seen us kiss. I don't think our friends have seen us hug. Like,
oh, come on.
They've definitely seen us hug. I genuinely don't think we've kissed in public.
I don't think we
like
have.
in front of people.
We're going to go out and make a TikTok of you kissing. It's going to be your first kiss.
Oh my God, we should.
We actually should.
That'd be like CBT.
I'll get the megaphone. Come on,
Gays kissing.
That's really surprising to me, and it's funny that you both align on that as well. There's not one of you that would be naturally more inclined to kiss in public or hold hands in public. And
you know what? It's probably quite sad that it's just never come into my brain to do
so
it.
if you're on the beach together on holiday, you wouldn't touch, you wouldn't be on top of each other, you wouldn't be kissing in the sand and all that?
No.
Or in the sea? No. I mean, no judgment. I'm just curious. Cause
Yeah.
We wouldn't, would we?
No, but that's actually quite interesting that
Yeah.
we've never actually...
Have you gone clubbing together?
Yeah. But nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing.
And you don't snog on the dance floor or anything?
No.
Do you go out together as a couple? Like dancing or
We're not
parties?
big like drinkers
I feel like we've
anymore.
been there, done that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we rarely go out to like...
Clubs. Yeah.
And you don't think any of it's to do with just the uncomfortability factor of being seen gay in public? You think it's just how you are?
I think it's a mix of both.
Probably, yeah. I think subconsciously it probably is a mix. It is a mix of both. And I think I probably would feel uncomfortable doing it. Like if you just randomly kiss me in the street, I'd probably be a bit like, oh, that feels so abnormal to me.
I mean, especially now.
Especially now that we haven't done it for 5 years, yeah.
I'm just going to do it now. Train platform on the way home.
I think you should.
Get ready.
Yeah.
When did you tell each other that you loved each other for the first time?
I can't remember how early on it was, but it was in my car. We was parked up outside your flat, weren't we?
Yeah.
Kind of everything happens in your car.
Yeah. Oh, it had to, didn't it? Because of lockdown.
Oh, COVID, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my voice was shaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
and he was like, what? And I was like, I love you.
Yeah. It gives me the ick actually
Yeah,
to look
it's
back and
like,
think about it. It makes you cringe. Yeah.
How weeks, months in?
Months.
It was the same about 3 months. 3 months.
And what did you say back?
I said the same thing. I said like, yeah, I love you too.
Was it as nonchalant as that, or was it a very like deep moment, or were you icked out by the whole thing?
I look back at him like that's so icky.
Yeah.
Why? Because it felt really...
I don't know. I think it's
Cringe.
just, again, because we're not like PDA people, I think I sit there and I look back and I think we were just sat in this car thinking the world's ending, not knowing what was going on. It was such a shock because neither of us expected to get into a relationship. We'd already been through like a few hurdles with each other. So then to just be sat there and...
I also feel like we were just completely different people. But I look back and I was like, that wasn't even me sitting in that car.
That's exactly what it is.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
But do you tell each other you love each other regularly?
All the time now.
All the time, yeah.
Okay, so you might not say goodbye and kiss, but you'll always go, love you, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cute. What do you think is your biggest fear in your relationship individually? Like, what do you really worry about happening, if there is a worry?
I hear like horrid stories of people just waking up one day and being like, I just don't love you anymore. And I think like, what if he just wakes up one day and he's like, this isn't the vibe anymore? Because it does happen. But then I guess you just have to cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah. Just roll with it. Mine's exactly the same, I think. I think we've had friends that have been with people for years and years, and then they've broken up after X amount of time. And you just think, how? Like, how can you be with someone for that long? And then suddenly it's gone. And like you don't have that connection or that emotion there. I think because I feel so strongly towards Jake, one of my biggest fears would be him turning around and being like, I don't feel how you feel. Because that would break my heart. I'd be fine.
You can't live in that
Eventually.
though. You can't go through the relationship being like, oh my God, what if? Because that's just not real life.
Yeah.
If you woke up one day and was like, this isn't working, I'd be like, well, can we fix it? If you say no,
What can you do?
That's life.
Yeah.
Do you think there is one of you which is a more anxious partner that does worry about these things? That does question the other person's feelings, that does need the reassurance more than the other?
Not reassurance, and I never question how Jake feels, but I'm definitely the more anxious attachment person in the relationship, for sure.
Less so now.
Less so now, yeah. I think it just comes from, I just love like physical touch and like words of affirmation. And I think if I don't get it, I'm a bit like, but it never makes me question how he feels.
Have you had that before in relationships where you've been an anxious partner?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Where you've overthought texts and...
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even dating. I think that's a big reason why when I was single, when I was dating, I'd only ever go on a first date because I'd read into everything and be so anxious and they wouldn't respond for 4 hours and I'd be like, they're not interested then. Like, I was not a good dater at all.
I was the complete opposite, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I think too little.
What? So you would be more just doing your own thing?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's why we work.
Yeah, we do balance each other out.
Yeah.
But it
On a lot
sounds
of
like
things.
going down the traditional therapy thing of anxious avoidant, it sounds like you might have a pinch of both, but it sounds like you're very secure as a combo. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think like we've in terms of the balance thing, I think we've definitely, rather than us both being on the extreme ends of those, we've balanced each other out to the point where we're now both just pretty chill.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've changed a lot from the start to now.
Yeah.
So I think you change as people. So you might have been more anxious at the start, but now you're less anxious and more secure. And that's just going to happen as the relationship goes on. I think it's only going to get better and stronger, I think.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that so many gay men find it difficult to find the right partner? Why do we find relationships and finding boyfriends quite challenging?
I don't think it's finding people that gay men find difficult. I genuinely think it's a subconscious fear of, okay, if I settle down with this person who I have got a connection with, or we can have something together, there's going to be something missing from my life if I do that. A lot of it I do think comes from acceptance, whether that acceptance is coming from people liking your Instagram photos or sending you DMs, or you being able to sleep with anyone that you want to sleep with because it makes you feel good about yourself. I think a lot of it does come down to that. I think people can find each other. I just think it's, especially in this day and age, like what I see from people dating and what I hear from like friends and stuff, the difficult thing is people just wanting to be with someone. Like, people go on dates and they're just like, oh, I can't bother. Like, they don't bother. No one responds to people's messages. No one keeps the momentum going. Like, no one wants to go out and
But I think it
meet
comes
anyone.
down to the reason why they're there. Why are you on the dating app? It's like that thing that I would say 100% with my chest. Like, I was definitely on dating apps for ego purposes. If you're on dating apps and you're just talking for a couple of days and you're like, oh, that doesn't work. Or like, for instance, when we first started talking, there was clearly a connection there, but it was just like, oh, there's someone else talking to me now. Oh, there's someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, there's someone else. Like, there's always more.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just hone in on someone, actually get to know them
Yeah.
and give it its time, then you just don't know what's going to happen.
But again, I think they think if I give all of my energy to this one person and focus on this one person, I'm going to be missing out on potentially that person, potentially that person, potentially that person. And it's like I get it. You've probably got 10 WhatsApp conversations going on. But if you like this one person, sod off the other 8 and give this one person like your attention and your time, because that could be the person that you end up with. If you do want to end up with someone, if you do want to have a relationship, which if you're on a dating app and you don't, get off the app.
It's hard, isn't it, to... people tend to look and their energy is different off the app radically.
Yeah.
So actually, would you have fancied each other on a picture versus real life, do you think? Like, were either of you pleasantly surprised in real life?
I think I was.
Oh, thanks.
No worries.
No,
No, you didn't say it back.
Mine was the same. Like, I just thought, like, when I saw him in person, I was like, yeah, you look like your photos, and I really fancied him in his photos. So for me, I was like, thank God.
Jake, what do you love about Max?
Where do I start? Let me get the scroll out.
Yeah.
Shut up. I would say mostly, I do think he's funny. I think that does, like what we said earlier, I think it does carry the relationship. I think if I didn't find you funny, we wouldn't be
We'd
where
be
we
so
are now.
bored.
Yeah, it'd be so boring.
Anything else?
Is that it? Do
Scroll?
you want to go now?
What else? Obviously, you're stunning. Everyone knows you're stunning. You're like you come from a place of like care. Like he will do things out of just pure love for me, whereas I don't think I've had that before. Like he would just be like, he'll do certain things like around the house or go out of your way to do certain things, and like it just is caring, I guess. What's the opposite to selfish?
Selfless.
Selfless. Yeah, he's selfless when it comes to our relationship, I think.
Nice.
That's
And
nice.
the same question to you, Max. What do you love about Jake?
Mine's probably a bit more selfish, but Jake kind of balances me out. My brain's constantly going. I've constantly got like 400 things in my mind, constantly trying to do everything. Jake's very good at mellowing me out and making things rational, also really impulsive. And he'll stop me from being that. He's like the calm, which, yeah, I think I really need.
It works both ways as well. I think I can be too calm as well sometimes.
Yeah. But for the most part, that's, I think, probably one of the biggest.
This episode being sponsored by Hinge, which is great. Hinge have just released an LGBTQIA date report where basically they have relationship experts that get statistics and interview queer people around their relationships, and they put together this report based on their findings. So I've got some findings today from the report, and I'm curious to run them past you as a couple to see if you agree with them, disagree with them, can relate to any of them. So I'm just going to open the floor to some of the facts that are in this report and see what we all think about them. The first one is 48% of queer identifying people experience label fatigue, whereas 22% of gay people experience label fatigue, which indicates to me that gays enjoy labels when it comes to dating. They like to know if you're a top or a bottom. They like to know if you're masc or femme, whereas queer people don't like the labels as much. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like when you were dating, labels and being quite clear about maybe how you look or how you identify or sexually what you like, do you find them helpful or do you find them not helpful?
There's pros and cons to both, I think, for sure. In my opinion, I'm not too sure how helpful they are. You might like a really, I don't know, let's say you're into twinks. Give it 5 years, that person might not be a twink anymore. Like, they're going to age. So, like, if you're so hell-bent on these labels and you don't want to veer away from those, you're going to have a hard time in the dating world, I think.
I don't rate the labels. I don't think. I think it feels limiting.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to put yourself in a box.
Some things are important, don't get me wrong. I think some labels are important. And I think especially when it comes to maybe sexuality, I think if you're a gay man looking for another gay man, perfect. If you both have labelled yourself as gay men, you're onto a winner. But I think sometimes it can go a bit too far and really narrow things down to a point where you put yourself into such a box, it can kind of do the opposite of what you want, which is inclusivity. You kind of exclude yourself a bit.
It's limiting.
Yeah.
Is there a label that both of you are very firm on that you stick to personally? So you would describe yourselves as gay men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of you are bisexual or whatever the other ones are.
No.
Open to offers, I guess.
No, gay men.
Just
yeah.
gay man.
But as we said at the start, in terms of sexual preferences, you're both verse or open to whatever.
Yeah, I'd never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even
use the word verse.
I wouldn't even use the word verse.
Neither would I.
Honestly just think, like, sex is sex.
Well, there's sides now. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, Jake actually mentioned it yesterday.
Yeah. How recent has that been a thing?
In the past 5 years or so, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that before that there wasn't a term for it, and I think there was a lot of shame attached to people not expressing the fact they didn't want to have penetrative sex.
Really?
Which I find interesting because I think that most of the sex I have is not penetrative.
Yeah. When I was dating, I never did that.
Yeah. Okay, so another statistic in the report is who should plan the first date in terms of same-sex people, because obviously there's a presumption with straight people that the guy is going to lead the way. What do you think? Who should plan the first date?
I think whoever asks
Okay.
should plan the first date.
100%. I think if you've asked me on a date, you best have a plan together.
So interestingly, in this same report, it says that in terms of splitting the bill, LGBTQ plus daters are 90% more likely than heterosexual Hinge daters at splitting the bill. Do you think that's true? For you guys, do you think that your experience is that gays on dates typically split bills?
Did we always split bills? We did, didn't we, mostly?
I got the first one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I won't let you forget that. Don't worry.
Why was that?
I feel like trying to please, maybe. Trying to be like, I've paid for this one, you can get the next one. So there's got to be 2 dates.
That's interesting because I would normally say just for the first few, just split it.
Oh, 100%.
But obviously I didn't.
If I was going to be dating nowadays, I would be splitting that bill. Like, if you're going on a date a week, that's expensive. Is if you're like the more active one that's like, I've got an idea, let's go here. And you've got to pay. That's a lot.
I don't think it's unsurprising though that heterosexual people don't think as much about splitting bills. It is more the gender roles, isn't it? If the woman would be disappointed if the man didn't split the bill.
Yeah, I think there's never been rules for gay men, and I think that's why dating's such a hard thing to navigate, because there's no rules.
So also in the report, they say that unexpected connections can spark by 3 things. So there's energy and vibe, there's confidence, and then there's humour. Which one of those 3 do you think came in at the top? So energy and vibe, confidence, and humour.
I would say energy and vibe came off at the top.
For sure. I actually find confidence unattractive. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't know. I feel like confidence is attractive, but arrogance is...
There's a fine line.
Yeah, it's a very fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, and energy and vibe was the top.
The top.
Yeah.
Energy and vibe was the top, yeah. Although I do think humour is important.
Humour is very important, yeah. But I think that comes from, like, if someone's funny, that's a vibe.
Yeah. It's funny that you said confidence is unattractive, because I think that I agree. I think vulnerability is actually more attractive. So maybe you found it attractive that Jake was quite quiet on the first date because it showed that he was maybe a bit nervous.
100%. That is exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So
I'm intrigued.
Was Max very confident when you met him?
I would say he was quite confident. Like, he was the one asking like the questions and leading the date, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say he was quite confident.
This one's an interesting one. It says that the report says 50% of LGBTQIA plus Hinge daters felt pressure to appear either more masc or more femme to attract someone. So to apply that to us, have you ever felt on a date that you needed to, in the early stages, be a lot more masculine, not as silly, and kind of almost conceal who you might actually be underneath?
I actually think I was the opposite. I think I used to camp it up a bit just to match someone's energy if they were a bit more effeminate.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I never felt the need to be more mask. What about you?
I definitely feel like I tried to be more mask, depending on who I was seeing. I think I wouldn't even say mask. I'd just say you don't show your real self at the start of a relationship, really.
Yeah.
I think it takes a while for it to get going. So I definitely think the barriers get broken as you go down. But I think at the start, I think everyone has like this is the perfect version of me, whether it's whatever your version of perfect is, whether it's mask, feminine, whatever.
I think it takes a while as well so I'm very silly in relationships and silly with my closest friends, and it will take me a while if I really fancy someone to reveal that part of me. So I guess that I do feel like this statistic applies to me. I do feel like I'm quite serious and professional in the first stages. Do you think that you are, or were you immediately like being goofy and silly with each other?
We definitely weren't being immediately goofy.
Nah. I probably was a bit more, but I came from like a theatre background, so I was a bit more theatrical and a bit more kind of out there anyway.
Who activated the goofiness? Because you're obviously very goofy with each other, but which one of you decided, let's be silly now and stupid? Was it like a morning that you woke up together?
I don't even know.
I don't actually know.
Do you remember one particular date where you left it thinking, oh, that was really funny, we were really silly with each other?
I think we spent a lot of time in your flat, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I think it was just getting to know each other, and there was no one else around. It was just like you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
It came out quite early on, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think, which was nice.
I always left being like, okay, like I was myself,
Yeah.
which is always nice. You don't want to leave and be like, oh God.
Do you think that, so in this report, they talk a lot about challenging your comfort zone, going against the "they're not my type" thing people tell each other. Do you think that there is a benefit to going against your type, or has it always for you proven that if you do go against your type, it is just not who you like?
Well, would you say I was your type at the beginning?
Yeah, I'd say so. You were just handsome man was my type. Like that was literally it. I didn't have any other box. I don't know. I think it's fine to have a type, but so many people say they don't end up with their type, and sometimes your type might not be what you end up with, and it might not be what you necessarily end up finding attractive.
I think you have to be sexually attracted to them, like initially.
Yeah, okay.
If that's not there, then I don't.
Yeah, whether it's your type or not.
I mean, maybe that builds. I don't know, but I think initial attraction, you have to think, okay, they're good looking.
I don't know if it builds.
Do you think?
I don't know if
Some
it
people
builds.
said it does.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
I think it's either there or it's not.
Yeah.
And you know within minutes.
Oh, like seconds.
Yeah.
Like when they walk
Instantly.
towards you, you're either like,
You know.
yeah.
And I don't think it's something that you can build. Personally, it's never happened to me that they're like, oh, we were friends for years, and then suddenly we found each other
Yeah.
very sexy. It's just not happened for me.
But you
that way.
must have, as friends, thought, oh, they're good looking.
Of course, yeah.
But you don't want to sleep with them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I don't think that you can go on 10 dates with someone and then you say to your mates, I just don't know if I'm attracted to them. And they're like, oh, but it could grow. Nah, I think
Yeah.
by that point, it's not going to grow.
Yeah.
Personally. Do you agree?
Sure. Yeah,
Agreed.
I do. There's definitely a thing of like personality can make you more attracted to someone. And like the more you get to know them, the more you can get attracted to them through their personality. But I think looks wise and like types, and
Yeah.
I think, yeah, you're either attracted to them or you're not.
The initial attraction has to be there.
Yeah.
So would you two typically not just because their bios was really good or that what they wrote was good? You know, in Hinge that you can
Yeah.
write things.
Back in the day of when we were on the apps, I tried to mix it up. I tried to not have a type, and I tried to just find anyone that I thought our lives could mesh well. But again, I never really took it that seriously. So yeah,
Mine was mostly just based on looks. I was like, yeah, fit.
So did you not care as much about what was written in the
No, I don't
box?
think I even looked, to be honest. I might have scrolled and I was like, okay, that's a really good one, because they've got, I think at the time they only had the prompts. I think now you can like voice note and all, what else can they do? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, you can leave like voice things in there.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing. It was just like pictures and prompts.
Yeah, I actually do find the text bit quite useful, because if someone's funny, then and they show this, say they pull out a reference from a Bring It On film, or something, and you're like, oh, they're gonna have the same sense of humor as me.
Yeah.
I also think you can also see the opposite. Like you can see if they're a bit dull. Like I remember when I was on the apps, I used to see a thing, and it'd be like, you can find me on the weekend. You'll find me, and it'd be like at the gym, and but all right, come on, get a bit creative.
And the full report is such an interesting read. I encourage anyone listening to this to download the full LGBTQIA+ date report by Hinge, which you can download using the link which is in the description of this episode. So I would suggest reading it to also see if you agree with any of it.
100%.
Yeah. Jake and Max, this was my first couple interview, and I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been really fun. I feel in awe of you as a couple. So I think we should film a TikTok of you kissing on the street.
Watch this space.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No, you're very
We loved it.
welcome.